This is Special Chronicles, giving respect and a voice to people. This is Special Chronicles, giving respect and a voice to people with special needs.
I shudder thinking how the world can be so cruel. And my voice to those who can't. It's time we try, it's time we care, it's time to stand. It starts with a voice.
Welcome to the Special Chronicles show. My name is Daniel. I'm the founder of Special Chronicles and the Southern Tribal International Global Messenger of Special Olympics and a service ambassador at United Airlines in Chicago. This is episode 471 and season 3, part 2 of our Unified at Work series on Special Chronicles, which features conversations about the meaning of inclusive employment. The Unified at Work series is sponsored by Bridge, one of United's business resource groups that's connecting people of all abilities. SpecialChronicles.com is where you can go for links to follow Special Chronicles on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Be sure to also do what you do with this podcast and hit that subscribe or follow button. And remember to rate and review this podcast on Apple Podcasts, the iHeartRadio app, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Goes a long way if you can leave a 5-star rating and review for us. In addition to listening to the audio podcast, we hope that you also subscribe to our channel on YouTube and to watch the live stream video episode. And don't forget to also sign up for our newsletter. And again, specialchronicles.com for links to subscribe and follow. Our guest this week on the Special Chronicles show and our Unified at Work series is David Wiley from United's Denver hub. And so please put your virtual hands together as we welcome David to the Special Chronicles show and our Unified at Work series. Welcome, David.
Thank you.
So it's good to have you on the show. I think we first met last October, right?
Correct. We first met last October. Yep. When I first started working United Airlines in Denver, and it was very much an honor that I'm able to do the same type of work that you do, Daniel.
Yeah. It's really exciting for any new listeners. Back in 2019 was when the Special Olympics Service Ambassador Program with our inclusive employment got started with myself and Kyle and Lauren and Z. We were the first full service ambassador, so it's exciting to see and hear United expanded it to Denver and to Houston as well. So for any new listeners, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us what disability you were diagnosed with, your role in Special Olympics movement, what state you're from, and what job at United.
So I am the job I have as the job title at United, it's kind of getting to be new in a little ways because I first started at the lobby and working there, and now they want this bridge program in Denver to actually go around to different places like FIS and BSO, the baggage service claim, and the disability I have is actually called sensory integration dysfunction and cognitive delays, and I'm very capable of doing any job. It was great to be able to do this. And just so the listeners know, the passengers really appreciate what we do at United and in Denver and anywhere else in the United States, because that's what we want to keep having other states doing it as well.
Absolutely. So we're going to go ahead and take a short break. When we when we come back, we'll continue with your story in Special Olympics and your job at United Airlines. Our guest is David Riley from the Denver hub, and we'll be back right here on SpecialChronicles.com. We're going to take a quick break from our conversation today to learn how you can become a Special Chronicles supporter so we can continue to produce this podcast. Support for Special Chronicles comes from listeners like you. As an independent public media podcast, Special Chronicles will always be there for you. Now we're asking you to be there for us. As a nonprofit independent media organization, we can only make programs like Special Chronicles with listener support. Our programs provide weekly, candid, honest, and inspiring conversations about the people with disabilities community that creates awareness, support, and advocacy within each week's episode. Listeners tell us our shows are an enjoyable and necessary podcast for the intellectual and developmental disability community and everyone else who is able to listen to stories about life from a different angle. Please, if you and your family love our weekly podcast, make a one-time, monthly, or annual gift of thanks today. Support this podcast at specialchronicles.com/give. That's specialchronicles.com/give. And now, back to the show to continue the conversation today. And back to the show. And we're back. Our guest on the Special Chronicles show is David Riley, fellow service ambassador at United Airlines and at the Denver hub. So, David, let's now get into your involvement in Special Olympics. So, first tell us how you first got involved in Special Olympics and about your early years, challenges and joys. And
all right. How I got involved in Special Olympics is I was actually 10 years old. And one of my pretty good friends and his mom, Ryan Stratton, actually we were going and seeing him play a sport. I think it was basketball or something. And he actually was able to. We saw it, and my mom asked, "So what's this all about?" And then I started doing it since I was 10, and I've done basketball, and right now I'm doing basketball. Got the second place ribbon and regionals in Golden last Saturday, 2 days ago.
Awesome.
And then I also do flag football, track and field, and softball as well. And I was also the male athlete of the year for Special Olympics in 2020, 2 years ago. Yeah.
Awesome.
And it's just good to talk about Special Olympics and actually be able to somewhat play sports a little bit in person, but not to get too much into that because of what's going on with the pandemic. Because you can, but you can't in some ways. So
yeah. So, out of all the sports that you have competed in, what would you say would be your favorite?
So my favorite sport would have to be the basketball, most likely, because I love playing basketball, and I used to work the Nuggets games in Denver, and then I decided with this United job to quit doing that, and I don't like watching basketball as much as I like watching, or as much as I like playing basketball.
Yeah.
And it's just to say one cool thing that I did, I guess it was last October, I think it was. So I did flag football in Fort Collins, the state meet tournament, and I actually got to help out the young athletes over there. And so I'm very happy to still be able to do sports and help out any way I can at any job I have.
Awesome. Well, just like you, I also compete in basketball, and I also do swimming as well. So, as you know, athlete leadership is a big part. In addition to the sports that we compete in, athlete leadership programs are a big part. And so, how did you folks get involved in the athlete leadership programs?
So I first got involved in the athlete leadership program was I actually was I think it was around a year ago. I was just hearing from other people that were doing it already, and they were like, and I was thinking that would be really cool to be part of the leadership, and then you can actually first we were able to do it in person, and you could actually talk to people about how to keep the teams going in your Colorado region and all that. And then with the pandemic still somewhat going on, we went back to Zoom, but it's still very good to actually be able to connect with teammates and actually play and talk about, not your emotions, but kind of talk about your emotions, because you're like, sometimes, as you know, when you play sports, sometimes there's people that are not, are unsportsmanlike, I guess you could say. Yeah. And then you can talk about that as well when you're with your Special Olympics leadership, along with the people that kind of are part of it. With Stephanie is the one that leads it, along with Mackenzie Bove Nickel, with athlete leadership as well. So we do that once a month or something like that, I think it is. Or maybe I can't remember, but I think one of ours is coming up. So
yeah, neat. So it's really exciting that we have these sports to compete in, but then we also have these athlete leadership to compete in, to participate in as well. We're going to take another short break. When we come back, we're getting into how David came on to become a service ambassador at United Airlines. When on SpecialChronicles.com, when we and hold that thought. We're going to take a quick break from our conversation today to hear a message from our partner. Support for Special Chronicles comes from ComEd. Special Chronicles is proud to partner with the ComEd Energy Force Ambassador Program. The Energy Force is the country's first energy efficiency education program designed for and taught by people with disabilities. ComEd is powering lives, and really is powering us here at Special Chronicles to keep the lights on and our technology is powered on. As ComEd powers the lives of us, they're literally giving a voice to people with special needs. We thank ComEd for the generous support of our mission at Special Chronicles. Learn more at specialchronicles.com/ComEd. That's specialchronicles.com/ComEd. And now we return to our conversation. This episode continues right now. We're back. Our guest is David Riley, fellow service ambassador at the Denver hub, and I'm Daniel, founder of Special Chronicles, and this is episode 471. This is season 3, part 2 of our Unified at Work series. So, David, as we said at the top of the episode today that we first met last October at the welcome event when you first started at United. So, take our listeners back to even before last October, to take us back to when you first found out about this job and this really exciting and this new inclusive employment opportunity at United. Because as we said it,
okay. So how this happened was I was actually, because with everything going on, I got a different job that was not United, basically, and then I got a message from one of the Special Olympics staff members that said, "We want you to do that. We want to have a job shadow with a certain amount of people at United." And then after that happened, they actually talked to us and told us about how we got the job and what 4 people got the job out of United Denver. and I was one of them, and it was a very great honor. And I'm a people person, basically, is what I tell the customers a lot. And I actually like talking to people with their kids and everything, because it's just great to see people flying back home from Colorado or flying on vacation. A lot of times people are either coming to Colorado to go skiing or coming back home from skiing or enjoying time and all that. So that's it was the job shadow I did, and then I was one of the lucky few that was able to get hired. So that was fun to know, or to get honored that way. There we go.
Exciting. And I think my video might be frozen for a little bit, but let's. Experience in a little. Oh, there, we're back. I think we're back. We got the video back.
Yep.
Right. So, yeah. So that's really exciting. And after that job shadow day, and on the last episode, Hannah also talked about the same experience that you had with that job shadow event. So, tell us about well, I should say, after that job shadow, you went in for an interview, right? So tell
Correct.
us about that experience.
So what happened, actually, my parents are very nice, are very friendly, and they helped me out a lot. So what my parents did is they actually took me into United. Actually, I think it was my dad. He took me into United, and we both went into the interview room and talked to Paula Abril, who's one of the leads here, bosses here. And then we talked to other people. I can't remember who else there was there that we talked to. But then we actually saw that interestingly enough, I got my job here I got hired. I didn't start on that day, but I got hired on my own birthday, September 20th.
Awesome.
So that was exciting.
Awesome. Yeah.
And then so that was exciting. That was a good birthday present. So this is a funny story I can tell.
Yeah.
My mom did not know that I was going to get this job at United Airlines, but she thought she had the best birthday present for me ever, which was and I didn't know this at the time until after I got the job at United, but it was a baseball. So I got a little thing that says how many baseball stadiums you can go to in your life. Unfortunately, right now we don't have baseball going on with everything going on in the world, but we will hopefully soon. And also, so then my mom said, I got the best birthday present for you, but she didn't know I was getting hired on that same day. So, and I actually told the Houston ambassadors in Houston, which we went to last Tuesday to meet with them. I actually told them about getting hired on my birthday, and that I think they actually thought that was cool as well.
Awesome. Yeah. That was really cool that it was a birthday present that you didn't expect.
Yes.
So after the interview, then kind of the next part of the story is when we met, which was at the welcome event, where you got to meet myself and the other OG, the other original service ambassadors here in Chicago, when we came and we answered questions and got to meet you and the Denver service ambassadors. So tell us about that experience at the welcome event. And
that experience was actually very helpful, Daniel. because yeah, actually you guys told us like how like, you know, with the weather in Colorado and the weather anywhere you live, honestly, is that you have to, with the commute I take is the light rail home and to work. So I have to like get to know make sure I'm dressed appropriately. And then you have to call your supervisors when you know that you're going to be late to going to work or not. And they're very flexible. Paula is very flexible, and she allows you to leave early if it's snowing and you don't want to be caught in the snow and have to not be safe at home, or not be safe, I guess, anywhere you are.
Yeah.
And just like you guys talking about how you really like working at United, and I as well do as well. And I actually, this is a funny thing I can say, is I honestly did not think I was going to be here this long. It will be a year in October, I believe. And I thought I was going to be able to go and just work my other job. But having more than one job is a good thing, because you can't, in my opinion, I don't want to be home by myself doing nothing, and because I know a lot of people during the pandemic that were the same, did that, and then they had to get vaccinated, and then all that happened. But I'm not going to go into that, but I just wanted to bring that up.
Yeah. Neat. So out of everything that you have shared so far of your story of coming to United, and now we'll record in this the end of February. This episode will be released, I think, the beginning of March 2022. So it's been a full 5 months that you've had your job here. So what would you say is you enjoy most about your job as a service ambassador at United?
So what I enjoy the most about my job is I actually get to meet just anybody that is like, you can help out. Like they're like, excuse me, can I get your help? And sometimes you can't help them because you don't have the ability to, which is okay, but a little unfortunate. But then sometimes you do have the ability to, and then like people are like, where do I check into United if I'm at the escalator? And I say, oh, you go over this way, and when you go over that way, that's where you check in. And tagging the bags, that's one of my favorite things I like doing, because when I first started, I wasn't able to tag bags. I was actually just learning, so I couldn't touch the kiosks, I couldn't tag bags, I could only be over by the door and directing people how to go in to check in to their flight. But other than that, it's like, so it's a learning curve. But at least, and it's still a learning curve, because you have to like keep, and unfortunately you get passengers that are very like irritated with you, which you can't do anything about, because like a guy came up to me today. For instance, I'll give just an example of that. A guy came up to me today and said, excuse me, can I get some help of where to check in? And there's a huge line outside in the lobby right now. So I'm like, I don't, all I can tell you right now, sir, is that you can only, you're going to have to wait in line. I'm sorry about that. And he's like, that's fine. But then another customer comes under his breath and says, it's not your fault, to the guy. It's this company's fault, which you also can't do anything about. But that was just one of the experience I had. You know, you get people there, and what helps me a lot is meditation. I meditate every morning, and then that helps me be able to know that if people are being rude, they're either stressed because they're going on a flight back home, or they just had a bad day. Absolutely. And
when I'm gonna highlight one thing that you said about one of the aspects of our job is to give directions to people who might not know where to go in the airport, whether it's where you are in the Denver hub or where I am in the Chicago hub. And I think I might have shared this at the welcome event, but so after getting a tour of the airport when we started, I was able to kind of have like a internal map of the airport in my mind that I'm able to kind of know where things are in the airport. So if somebody asks me where's gate B2 or where's gate C20, I'm able to kind of tell them where to go. Do you kind of do the same thing and kind of know where everything is
I do, but I will admit to you that my struggle was that at the very beginning, I was one of I could have been, I don't know if I am correct or not about this, but I could have been the last people that passed the test of knowing the whole United side of the airport, basically. Yeah. And I actually had to have my mom come with me, and I showed her around with what I knew of United, but then she had to help me out of different ways so then I could pass the test. Then I passed the test, and then that was good because then I was able to go forward with tagging bags and stuff like that.
Neat. So we're going to go ahead and take another short break. When we come back, we will wrap up this episode with some final thoughts and a question I always conclude these conversations with. So our guest is David Riley from the Denver hub, fellow service ambassador at United Airlines, and we'll continue. We will wrap up this episode when we come back from this final break right here on SpecialChronicles.com. Hey, friends, podcast listener friends. I'd like to take a brief moment to let you know about how awesome StreamYard is. StreamYard is the easiest way to create professional live streams. StreamYard is a live streaming studio in your browser. Interview guests, share your screen, and much more. Stream directly to Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and other platforms. Sign up for StreamYard and get $10 in credit with our referral link at specialchronicles.com/StreamYard. That's specialchronicles.com/StreamYard. You see the link right below on the screen here, and also will be in the show notes in the description below. But all of us at Special Chronicles, we love StreamYard. I've got a coffee mug I'm drinking coffee out of. Got a t-shirt on. I've got a sweatshirt. This StreamYard Puddles plush duck. Puddles the duck here in the studio, and just really love it. Makes really love StreamYard. It makes it easy to connect with guests. Just send guests the link to join StreamYard, and easily have a professional logo and banners and graphics, and it just makes it easy to pre-record, to live stream on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. Really love StreamYard. It's helped to make the audio podcasts and the video versions of the audio podcasts that I've been doing for the past 13 years. It's helped to make the video versions up to the next level, to a more professional level, while also making it easy to live stream. So all of us at Special Chronicles love StreamYard. Once again, if you want to sign up with StreamYard, specialchronicles.com/StreamYard. That's specialchronicles.com/StreamYard to sign up and get $10 in credit with our referral link. I hope you all will sign up for StreamYard, and happy live streaming. And until then, sign up for StreamYard and get $10 in credit with our referral link at specialchronicles.com/StreamYard. That's specialchronicles.com/StreamYard. And now back to the show. And we're back. Our guest on the Special Chronicles show is David Riley, fellow service ambassador at United Airlines. My name is Daniel, founder of Special Chronicles and a service ambassador at United. here in Chicago. And as we wrap up this episode, David, we want to remind our listeners that the Unified at Work series is sponsored by Bridge, which is United's business resource group connecting people with our abilities. You can book your travel today at united.com or on the award-winning United app. And if people want to get involved in Special Olympics Colorado or the local Special Olympics program, how can they get involved in Special Olympics Colorado?
You go to specialolympicscolorado.org, and you actually can sign up to either volunteer, like I said, when I was volunteering with it was kind of volunteering with young athletes. I was able to do that, and you can go on there. And actually, just so listeners know, I actually go out with a guys group every so often. And sometimes I just happen to run into a stranger with their kids or something, and they ask, oh, what do you do for Special Olympics? And I tell them, and then they ask how to get onto it. So I'm glad you're bringing up how we can get in, how people for Special Olympics in Colorado can get involved as well.
Absolutely, yeah. And if you're listening and you do not live in Colorado and you live in another state or another country, and you want to get involved in your local Special Olympics program, you can go to specialolympics.org, and from there you can find your local region and your local state or country program. So specialolympics.org, and then, like David said, specialolympicscolorado.org if you are in Colorado. It's been a joy to have you on the Special Chronicles show, David. Before we get to that final question to wrap up this episode, do you have any final thoughts on your overall time here today on the Special Chronicles show and our Unified at Work series?
No final thoughts other than I will bring up that I'm able to still help out with inclusion with Special Olympics. And I'm actually doing inclusive speeches to doctors in person and on Zoom. And in a couple of days, I'm actually going to be doing an inclusive speech to the whole Special Olympics Board of Colorado. So awesome. that will be really fun to do. I'll be finish working United today, then work United tomorrow, and then Wednesday I'll do that with the board, and then Thursday I'm doing it on Zoom with just different schools and stuff. So that's
exciting.
Very cool to be able to do things like that. And that's just, like you said, it's exciting to just bring inclusion back into Special Olympics still.
Yeah, that's very exciting. And speaking of inclusion, that's the perfect way to wrap up this episode. And let's go ahead and roll the bumper for the final question.
We're not just athletes.
We are the ambassadors of an uprising.
Peaceful protesters.
In a rebellion against anyone
who has a fear of difference.
Difference.
Our demands are
equality.
Dignity. And the recognition of our shared humanity.
We will not stop
or accept anything less.
Today, our world is
more divided than ever.
And coming together has never been more urgent.
The revolution
is inclusion.
Find out more at jointherevolution.org.
And as you hopefully could tell by that bumper, ever since the Abu Dhabi Daily Show, for the past few years, I've been concluding these podcast episodes with asking, and I'll do the same with you, David, what does inclusion mean to you?
Well, inclusion means to me is if you are including people in any sport you play or any thing you do, for instance, the athlete leadership program that I'm a part of, and also just different opportunities like that. You just keep, and inclusion is also goes with United, and you can be including people with you're kind of like including people when you're helping them with the kiosk, or you're telling them how to go to their next flight. You tell them, like, if they're going from on FIS, they're coming from like Canada or something, and then they have to go to Boston. You tell them where they are on their map device, or on my map device, is what I meant to say. Good.
Awesome. Well, it's a perfect way to wrap up this episode. It's been joy have you on, David, and hopefully someday we'll have to have you on again, or maybe we'll have to do a live podcast on location together sometime. If I ever come out to Denver again, maybe we'll have to talk with somebody at United and see if we can do a live podcast together. I think that
sounds good to me.
A lot of fun. And so for those of you listening, again, you can find the show notes for this episode, specialchronicles.com/podcast 471, and specialchronicles.com for links to follow Special Chronicles on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And make sure to also subscribe or follow and rate and review this podcast on Apple Podcasts, the iHeartRadio app, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Just search for Special Chronicles and you will find this podcast. And subscribe, and you can listen to new episodes, archived episodes, all that you can find. And you can also watch the video versions of this episode on our YouTube channel, which is on youtube.com/Special Chronicles. And again, you can find and sign up for our newsletter. We will give you exclusive bonus content. So again, specialchronicles.com for links to subscribe and follow. We will be back next week as we continue to meet United Special Olympic Service ambassadors from the Denver hub. We'll be back next week and the last couple of weeks of March as we continue to meet our fellow service ambassadors right here on the Special Chronicles show and our Unified at Work series. And hopefully you guys all will go to specialchronicles.com to find links to subscribe and follow. And we'll be back next week with another episode of this podcast, the Special Chronicles show and our Unified at Work series.
Thank you for having me, Daniel.
Yeah, thank you, David. And thank you, David, for coming on. And we'll see you all next week right here on specialchronicles.com.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Special Chronicles Shows podcast. Visit specialchronicles.com to follow Special Chronicles on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Subscribe to our channel on YouTube, and don't forget to hit the bell to be notified of new episodes. Also, subscribe to our newsletter mailing list to sign up for our updates and get exclusive content delivered to your inbox. Remember to do what you do with these podcasts: subscribe or follow and rate and review Special Chronicles on Apple Podcasts, the iHeartRadio app, and wherever you get your podcasts. Finally, please share this episode and all of our podcasts with your friends and family. Help us grow our audience and reach 5,000 downloads of our audio podcasts and over 14,000 average monthly listeners. Have a great week, and we'll see you back here next week with exciting new guests. See you next week.
Special Chronicles, giving respect and a voice to people with special needs.